Welcome to the D6 Family Ministry Podcast, a place where ideas, principles, and personalities come together to give you a ministry advantage that empowers the church and home.
I don't know anything more important in our society or in the kingdom of God than to help the church, help the family.
Discipleship is not an event, it's a way of life.
And one day it just hit me that discipleship at home was not about doing more. It was about inviting Christ into what we were already doing.
The goal of family ministry is not families sitting on the couch holding hands and singing Kumbaya. The ultimate goal is families that love God, love people, and make disciples of all peoples.
So that's why you're here. You're here to say 1 hour a week, as significant and as awesome as it is, we know that it's not enough and we want to be intentional with every hour.
You're listening to the D6 Podcast. Here are your hosts, Marianne Howard, Ron Hunter, and Josh Wooten.
So Ron, Miss Arlene talks about digital vegetables and digital candy in our conversation today, but I thought it would be fun if we shared our favorite vegetable, if you have one, and do you have a favorite candy bar?
Well, first of all, I want to know what a digital vegetable is. Some of the kiddos might really like digital if they don't have to eat the real vegetables. That might be a good approach, but
yes, she defines it today. She sure does.
Know, she does. No, I'll tell you what, my favorite vegetables. By the way, does what you can see? I'm couching and being defensive before I answer. Does not which vegetables that you admit to liking tell a lot about your age?
Maybe it depends on what it is.
I know. Now, it's funny. Brussels sprouts have made a comeback, and I've never cared a lot for Brussels sprouts, but I can handle them and don't mind them. But I also, some of my favorite vegetables are in that uncool category, like Brussels sprouts. Mm-hmm. My favorite is a really good lima bean.
Okay.
And turnip greens.
Oh, yes.
And English peas, but only when they're in the LeSueur silver can. That's the only English peas you're allowed to eat.
Okay.
And purple hull peas. Love purple hull peas.
Interesting.
There's so many different areas of peas. And my stepmom puts up peas, and she has all different kinds, from black-eyed to purple hull to field peas. I love field peas too. They're the little bitty small, like black-eyed peas. How about you? What vegetables do you like?
I am a collard green, Brussels sprout girl, but listen, I'm going to tell you, not in the healthy sense. Bacon grease does wonders.
Yes, that's the only way to eat them.
And I keep a jar of bacon grease in my fridge.
Yep.
Okay. That's what my Nanny Annie taught me. And you guys have heard me talk about her.
Yes.
So bacon grease gets dripped into some forms of vegetables. Right. I am also a real big potato girl. Like I like gold potatoes, roasted potatoes, mashed potatoes, baked potatoes. So that's kind of where I land. That's probably my favorite.
Right. And so you're counting potatoes as a vegetable. Is that right?
I am. Is it not? Is it considered a starch, I guess?
My son believes that mac and cheese is a vegetable, so it should be able to count.
Michael, I knew I liked you. Michael. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. I'm with you.
Yes, for sure. That's one of the 4 basic food groups in his world is mac and cheese. So, but for sure. I love good vegetables, but I also love me some candy.
Okay.
My favorite candy probably my favorite would have to be like an almond M&M.
Okay.
And I love dark chocolate, specifically the kind that has sea salt combined with it. So sea salt dark chocolate.
Okay.
How about you?
I am 100% a Reese's peanut butter cup girl. And I like the Reese's Big Cup. Have you seen the Big Cup where it's like double the peanut butter?
No. No. You can't go there. First of all, there's 2 fouls you just created.
Okay. It's not a bar.
No, it's not a candy. That is a candy bar. That's a total different category. You asked me what my favorite candy was. You then answered candy bar. Second foul is cannot mess up the ratio of peanut butter to chocolate. And when they put out the big bar, the ratio's wrong.
We're in disagreement here, sir.
Oh my goodness.
Is it okay to disagree with you?
Mess with perfection. They got it right the first time. Leave it alone.
Oh, but see the big cup, Ron, what I need you to understand about the big cup, and I need you to trust me on this because I think I know.
Is this a honey O?
This is like honey O's.
Honey O's afterwards. Yes. Okay.
And can I tell you guys, you listeners are coming in strong because we know you're listening because Ron got gifted cereal.
I did at the D6 conference. One of the ladies walked up and handed me a bag of Fruit Loops with a card saying, "Hey, we love this podcast team. We are listening. Here's some hotel candy for you to snack on while you're at the conference." Because that's how I referenced it.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So great. The thing about the big cup, I just have to explain this, guys. The thing about the big cup is that it truly tastes like you're eating peanut butter pie. And it's incredible. It's incredible. It's fluffy. Reese's, if you're hearing me, thank you. Thank you for what you do.
Foul number 3. It's a peanut butter pie.
Peanut butter pie in a Reese's cup.
Oh my goodness. There you have it, people. Let's just go ahead and sign off this podcast and move on to next week after that one. No, I tell you what. The peanut butter pie. I can't get past it, Marianne. Arlene Pellicane is about to take us into a world of digital vegetables and digital candy, and you do not want to miss it.
Do not.
So hang with us until we get after this break with Arlene Pellicane.
Are you concerned about your church's future? Will it serve another generation? The Bible says He is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And yet we often only know how to connect to Abraham. Let D6 help you connect with each generation. Your kids and grandkids are counting on you. D6 comes from the principles of Deuteronomy 6 and helps what happens in church also happen at home. Curriculum you can trust. Discipleship that connects.
Arlene Pellicane is a speaker and author of several books, including Parents Rising, 31 Days to a Happy Husband, and Screen Kids, which she co-authored with Dr. Gary Chapman. Arlene has been featured on The Today Show, Fox and Friends, Focus on the Family, K-Love, and Family Life Today. She also hosts the Happy Home podcast and writes regularly for Proverbs 31 Ministries. Arlene lives in San Diego with her husband, James, and their 3 children. Arlene, thanks for being here today.
It is such a pleasure to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're talking today about screen time for kids, so this is probably going to be an excellent podcast for parents, and it's going to be one that kids absolutely hate.
A little bit of both, right? Yeah. Sometimes, believe it or not, it'll be the kids that will like jab the parents, like, I hope you're listening, because they're saying that the parent is on the phone. I've had that happen, actually.
So no matter who is trying to take the phone out of your hand and stop it right now,
that's right.
Let's let it keep going.
Yes.
Mom and Dad, let it keep rolling. Kids, there's going to be something for you too.
Don't be afraid. Come on in.
Well, if we're being honest, phones and other devices can be very convenient babysitters to get our kids out of our hair, keep them quiet at a restaurant. I've got a 2-year-old, and Mickey Mouse Clubhouse seems like a godsend at times. If he can be quiet, Coco Melon, Baby Shark, Let It Go, whatever it is. Sometimes it is kind of convenient. And some might even say, hey, our kids are behaving. What's the harm? Yeah. In your book, Screen Kids, you discuss some of that harm. What effect is screen time having on the brain development of children?
Yeah, so this is a huge thing, and there's a whole chapter on brain development. But let's just picture when I first moved into my house. It was new development. It was just dirt and this house. And then, obviously they had to pave a lot of roads. And can you imagine if years and years later, I still had just dirt and I couldn't go anywhere? That'd be ridiculous, right? Well, your child, that brain, if you could picture it, just like dirt. And the more they have experiences, the more they, instead of, let's say, in a grocery store, instead of looking at their iPad, which is an experience they already know, that's a road that's already built, but instead they're trained to, oh, look, honey, here's a real apple, instead of, like your iPad. And look, this is how we talk to a stranger, and this is how we address the person at the cash register. These are new roads that are literally being built in your child's brain, whether your child is 1 or even 21-year-olds need to to learn these roads too. But the idea is that the neurons need to fire together. And as they fire together through experience and through learning, they build. And so you're trying to build this cathedral in your child's mind. And sometimes we'll think like, well, they just weren't born polite, or they just weren't born relational. But all these things are learned through the brain. So for us to realize, wait a minute, the more my child is used to that quick dopamine, right? Like it's fun to go on a roller coaster once in a while. But when a child goes on a roller coaster all the time, all day long, which is what that dopamine spike of, hey, let me watch that video game. Hey, let me play that, let me see that on YouTube. Hey, let's check this next thing out on Netflix. Hey, and it's dopamine in the brain, pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. Then all of a sudden the brain's like, I need more pleasure. This pleasure isn't doing it. I need more time on this video game. I need more violence on this video game, right? And then you give them a book and you say, read this. And they're like, what's this? Right? That it's difficult. And so we have to realize that this convenience, there's a trade-off. So yes, it's more convenient to say, here, child of mine, you can watch this for the next 2 hours and I can get a lot of stuff done, But there's a trade-off of, okay, what if that was a book? What might that do to a child's brain? And think of the imagination and things that they can learn. And so there is a lot at stake in the brain.
And I'm not trying to talk in hyperbole here, but when you were describing that, it almost kind of sounds like you were describing a drug addiction.
Yes. It's interesting what doctors will say because, we get that. Red Ribbon Week, say no to drugs, we get that. But researchers, pediatricians will say that the screen addiction is so much more dangerous because we're not expecting it. We would never give a child a cigarette or say like, here, try some hard liquor, child of mine. I mean, no one would ever do that. But we will give our iPad, we will buy an iPad for our child, all these things because we'll think, well, this is normal. It's what all the people around us are doing, and this is the new world. But to realize this digital addiction, and here's the thing, if you're wondering, what, if I'm saying addiction, what does that mean? And there are negative consequences of use. So you see that, wow, if I take this away from my child, it's like World War III. Like, what is this? Like, my child cannot go 3 hours without asking for this device, for this show, this game, whatever. Then you realize, wait a minute, you are acting like an addict, that you cannot stay away from this.
I'm feeling the conviction right now a little.
It's like we're all getting our hearts are beating a little bit harder.
Yeah, let's just end it here because I don't know if this is repentance that's needed, but we talked about the physical, and if that were not enough, the effects on mental health are quite severe. And we've put a big focus today on mental health and that mental health matters and mental illness, but we don't always connect it with our phones and our screen time and things like that. What is research telling us about that relationship between screen time and mental health?
Yeah, John Hopkins did a study between 2004 and 2014, and in that 10-year period, depression among girls spiked 37%. And you look at that 37% in a decade of kids that are more depressed, having more problems. And what happened in 2004 to 2014? We had phones, we have social media, and so kids are not attaching to their parents, to their peers, to their friends, to animals, to service, to other things that really keep you healthy and mentally have purpose. And instead, kids are given, hey, here's entertainment, but there's no secure attachment with that entertainment. And really, there's no purpose or mission. If you're waking up and your mission is only to play a video game or only to get this many likes or only to escape cyberbullying one more day, whatever it is, that's hard on kids. And then if they're not able to talk to their parents because, think of it, many years ago, things between parents and kids have always gotten to that point where it's like kids don't want to talk to their parents, so that's nothing necessarily new, but now it happens sooner. And now it's largely because of the competition of that screen. Like, I'd rather spend time with the screen than talk to my mom and dad. And in the absence of that talking, there's been all these emotional and mental health problems that really are, that need to be paid attention to because they're happening in kids younger and younger. And they're happening with kids who do have people around them who love them.
Wow. Yeah, you brought up that addiction factor earlier, and with certain types of addiction, I think we could probably identify it pretty easy. We see it in people we know, that is a problem. Not always as easy when it comes to things like screens. how can parents identify it with their kids, and then what do they do about it once they see it there?
You can kind of, in the book Screen Kids, we talk about it in depth, but you can kind of think of it in this way. If your child is casual, at risk, or addicted. And think of it this way. If your kid is a casual gamer, they'll just be like, oh, I'll play this game for 30 minutes. It's fun with my friends. And then they'll walk away and they'll go do something else. And then a few days will go by and they won't ask for it or anything. And then you realize, okay, this is a kid that can play video games. It's really not a problem for them. Your at-risk kid is like, okay, you're supposed to play only on the weekends. But every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're asking your mom or dad, please can I play? Please can I play? Please can I play? Now you know, okay, you're kind of a little bit more at risk. You're not really casual. And then, of course, your addicted gamer is the one that you're seeing, okay, this is disrupting your life. Like you used to be a good student, you're no longer interested in that. You used to play the guitar, you haven't picked it up in weeks. You used to hang out with your friends, you haven't gotten out of the house. You used to love soccer, you haven't played in months. You know, all these things. And that you see, wait a minute, this is changing you, and it's not for the better. And that's when you really have to say, okay, what can we do? And honestly, parents, and for you kids out there who have parents that you think you need to hear this, you know, try that 7-day reset of, hey, for 7 days, maybe as a family, we will, after dinner, like we'll all get off Wi-Fi and we'll all do something different. And you might stare at each other and just wonder what in the world we'll do. Like, I guess we have bicycles. Let's take those out, you know. So, but you can do that as a team. But the idea is, let's see if your child will do better if you pull back the screens for 7 days. And I'm pretty much going to guarantee that your child will do better. Like, your child isn't going to say, oh, thank you so much for doing this. You're such a wonderful, godly parent. No, they're going to be like, you're the meanest parent ever. But by day 3, 4, 5, when they start sleeping better, when they start not having to like deal with so much maybe social pressure online, they're going to be like, wow, I actually think this is better, mom or dad. So I encourage you, if you think your child is addicted, don't feel helpless. Instead, feel like, hey, there is something I can do about this. And if you have young children who are not in that danger zone, then make it your commitment. Man, we are not going to move. When we see it move from that casual to at risk, we're going to act. And it could be video games, it could be social media, it could be YouTube videos, you know, any realm. I love to talk about digital vegetables and digital candy, that some things are vegetables, and that's why we embrace the computer. Hey, we had to do online school. There's the computer. You can Skype grandma. That's awesome. You can watch a sermon. Fantastic. You can learn how to play worship music. Awesome. Like, there's all this good stuff you can do. So those are digital vegetables. You never get in trouble for doing it. You don't sneak around the house doing it. You don't wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to study Deuteronomy. I'm sorry, parents. That's not happening. You know, but it's the digital candy. That's the trouble. And that's your Netflix and your YouTube and your Hulu and your all the apps and the video games. And that's what, you know, you take the average kid, what are you doing? They're not Skyping grandma. They're eating candy.
Yeah, I love that, the digital vegetables and digital candy that you talked about in the book. I think I went through a few highlighters just on that. I thought, this makes sense. And I like that you talk about that's the positive aspect.
Yes.
It's not all just negative, that we just throw it all out.
Yeah.
There is some good stuff there.
And you can even talk to your kids, like your 3-year-old, this is a digital vegetable, you know, and really even introduce that in the vocabulary, because sometimes they'll think, you said the screen was bad, but I see you on your screen all the time, you know, and you can explain, well, this is email, this is a digital vegetable. But even for us as parents, you know, we have to go, okay, is this really a vegetable? I started on email, but now I'm in shoes, and you maybe are in like stocks or sports. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like it shifts. So for us to use this language for ourselves as well.
One major struggle that I hear from parents is that when they tell their kids they're not old enough to have a phone, or they're not old enough to have Instagram or whatever is the new social media fad they're on, their kids push back and say, but everyone else my age has a phone, or everyone else my age is on this app. What advice would you offer to parents who worry that lack of phone might cause their kids to be left behind or even suffer as far as social status is concerned?
Yeah, it's such a good question. And you know what? I am the mecca of suffering. I have a 16-year-old boy who does not have a phone, who does not have social media. I have a 14-year-old girl, 11-year-old, same thing. And here's what I'll say. Your child can feel like they're in the in crowd now, or they can feel like they're in the in crowd later. And what I mean by that is, okay, temporarily, your son may not know what to do when all the kids are talking about video games, right? But what's he doing while all those other kids are playing video games? He's learning. Mm-hmm. Maybe he has a skill. Maybe he's learning how to work on cars. Maybe he's an artist and he paints. Maybe he rides horses. For my son, he plays piano. He's been teaching piano students, making money for himself, since he was like 14 years old. So there are skills that are being built, that are relational skills, that are coping skills, that you don't need a phone to cope. You don't need a phone to have friends. You don't have to have social media to feel secure. So those are some really real world solutions. Like if you launch a kid who isn't worried about how popular they are, who isn't constantly every 10 minutes checking in on, oh my goodness, did anyone like this photo? Or isn't going to worry about, am I going to get fired from my job because I'm gaming all night long and I'm coming to work tired, right? That kid may feel left out right now, but when they're an adult and when someday they're a husband or a wife, they're going to be leap years ahead of who was the in crowd. So let's just kind of have that long-term vision. And then one thing my son said that I really loved is he said, you know what, Mom, there will always be people that you don't fit in because you don't have the right technology, you don't know how to play the games. But there will always be other people who have that stuff, but they don't really care that you don't have it, and they'll still be your friend. And he's like, those are the kind of kids you want to know and hang out with. So my children, even though they have been, quote unquote, left out, they go to public school and all that. My daughter, who is a freshman, will say, Mom, you know what? I'd rather have one friend in real life next to me, hanging out, saying I'm a good person, I'm a good friend to her, than followers that I don't even really know that well. So she's understanding. So the things that your kids are saying and begging, please don't let me be left out of this, the wise parent will say, you know what? That stuff that you're being left out of, it's probably really healthy that you're being left out. And I'm preparing you for the future. And if you live in a home that's fun and that you're doing things, so I'm not just saying that you're like staring at each other, like there's nothing going on, but you live with purpose, with mission, with your kids learning competence, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for, I want to be good at something. Yeah. So it usually is, I have to be good at the phone, or I have to be good at video games, or I have to be good at my social media following. I got to be good at that, Mom and Dad. Let me be good at that. But if you let them be competent on other things, my daughter Lucy, she's been riding horses through coronavirus, and that's given her so much confidence. Yeah. So let them be competent in other things, and they won't feel then so left out of that technological stuff that you might be pushing back. And let's just remember, it's 13 years and up for social media. And so there's a reason why they say 13 years and up. So that's for sure, toe that line. And then just because they turn 13, that's not a magical number either. Then you've got to think of your child.
That is really, really great information right there. I'm going to ask you the tough question now that we hear so often, and then I'm just going to step away so I don't have to get hit by the damage.
Yes.
When is it okay for a kid to have a phone or have a tablet or access to social media?
Yes, and there is not a magic answer. So you're not going to hear the magic answer from me, but I love to tell people, well, Bill Gates, he probably knew a little bit about technology. He did not allow his kids to have phones until they're 14. And I love to say, you know what, if that was good enough for Bill Gates, that's good enough for me. And I tell you what, it's a lot easier to delay a device than to take one back that you've already given. So if you give it too soon and you have to pull it back, that is a nightmare. But if you just say, I'm going to delay, that's going to help a lot. So I really like Bill Gates. I think 14 and up for a phone is really great. But here are the kinds of things you should be thinking about. Okay, is my child responsible? Like, so does my child walk the dog, do the homework, do the laundry, do the dishes? Because if they are not doing that, but they promise you, if you get me a phone, I'll do exactly what the contract says. I'll do everything you want me to do, right? And you're like, you don't even do the stuff I'm asking you to do now. So your kid has to have a track record of being responsible. And until they have a track record of being responsible, they have no business. So if you've got a kid that you're still making a lunch for, this kid does not need a phone. Like, they can't even make their own peanut butter jelly sandwich, so they cannot have a phone. So delay. And then, Steve Jobs, when Nick Bolton from the New York Times went to see him and just asked the softball question, hey, how do your kids like that iPad? He was like, oh yeah, my kids don't have an iPad. So Steve Jobs, is this on? Like, Steve Jobs did not have an iPad and didn't give that to his children. So it tells us a lot. And so look at your kids' responsibility. I would suggest 14 years or older. maybe starting with a dumb phone, something that's just not the whole world at your fingertips to begin with, and make it very clear that, hey, talk about it together with your teenager. This is what we're looking for. This is what we're expecting, because we want to keep you healthy. And even have your teenager, what do you think would be healthy? How many minutes on social media per day do you think would be healthy? And have those conversations so that it's very clear that, hey, if we see this being violated, we're going to pull this back. And that's a decision that you've made together. But again, kids, think of us as adults. How many times have you touched your phone just listening to this podcast? Maybe besides the podcast, you checked a text, you checked your email, whatever. So if we as adults are having problems controlling our desire to see what's going on? How can we expect that a kid is going to be able to sort through all that? And it really is, in this age of sex trafficking, pornography, all those things, it's really like dropping, is your kid ready to be dropped off at a mall for 4 hours and then for you to pick them up? And if they're not ready for that, they're not ready for a phone, because that's what you're doing. They're in your house and they look like they're safe, but you have no idea who they're talking to. So, hey, the mall test, that's a good one too.
Wow. If we ended things right here, I think there would be a lot of parents that would be really happy, because I'd say, you've given me the ammo I need to go turn off Fortnite and everything is all good. But you brought up another point that I think we need to touch on, because if we're honest, it's not just kids who have screen issues. How does a parent's over-reliance on a phone or a screen affect the rest of the family?
Oh, it's so huge. So just think, ask your child, and if you're married, ask your spouse, hey, am I on my phone too much? Do you ever feel like you're less important than my phone, like I'm paying more attention to my phone than you? And listen, they did a survey of 6,000 kids all around the world, and over half of them said, my parents' worst habit is looking at the phone while we're in conversation. Ooh. And so for us to realize, where are our eyes? And our eyes need to be on our child. And so one practice is the pivot, and that's basically the idea. We could go through the whole day looking at our phone and saying things like, okay, get in the car, grab a coat, grab a snack. Okay, did someone feed the cat? And the whole time you are looking at your phone while you're saying all of those things. So step number 1, pivot away from that phone. Look your child in the eye when you greet them. Look at your child in the eye when you're giving them advice, instruction. So get your eyes off the phone. The phone does not care if you're looking at it, but your child notices. And if this happens, obviously, once or twice, no big deal. But if your child, day after day, says, every time I look at my mom, whenever I look at my dad, they're always on that phone, then we know, oh my goodness, they're getting the message that we're not intending to send, but they're getting the message, that phone is a lot more important than me. And I know you are listening to this podcast, and that is not the message you want to be sending. And so it can start with an apology, that a parent says, hey, you know what? It's been kind of crazy at work. I've let things get out of control. I'm wasting a lot of time online. I'm really sorry. And here's what I'm going to do. At 8 o'clock, I'm going to give you my phone, at night or something. And show your kids that you're not perfect, and that's okay, and that together you guys want to manage it better.
Well, lately, if I put my phone down or my wife puts her phone down, our 2-year-old will pick it up and bring it to us and go, Daddy's phone, Mommy's phone. I thought, he's so used to seeing it in my hand.
Like that you might need this.
Yes,
like,
and if I pick up my wife's phone, it's, no, that's Mommy's phone. Right. I'm thinking, this is not good. Especially when he's doing this and I see your book sitting on my coffee table, I'm thinking, yikes, this is not a good thing. But there was a quote in your book that really stood out to me when I was going through this. You said, what we model digitally is more important than what we say about screen time. And that was convicting, but also encouraging to me, because I thought we have a chance to make a difference and to make a change. And we can fix things if we've gone off the edge in the wrong way.
So true.
As we end, I do want to ask you, what are some practical recommendations that you can make for the family when it comes to this difficult topic?
Yeah. So, if you haven't given a phone yet, think about what we've talked about before doing it. Delay, read the book Screen Kids, so you kind of know what you're getting into. And then things like meal times. Such a precious, research shows over and over the family who eats together, like really talking to each other, laughing together, all those things, they're way more connected. They're going to do better in school. They're going to stay off drugs. They're less likely to be sexually active. All those wonderful things that we parents want. And it all starts with mealtime. So screen-free mealtime, where your phones, Mommy's phone and Daddy's phone, is that's on the bookshelf, and it's nowhere near. There are no screens on while you're having dinner, even in restaurants. And so you could train your kids at home, like, okay, we'll go get your favorite dessert if you can go without a screen, and you can go with crayons and pens and books, and and I know right now you guys are like, what? Like, forget that. But I'm telling you, kids are they can adapt. I think sometimes better than we as parents. And if they realize this is the expectation for me, and mom and dad, they're not budging, like, we want to eat, we will do this. So screen-free mealtime, no devices in the bedroom overnight. So whether you have an 8-year-old or even an 18-year-old living in your house, because what's happening? Sleep. Your kids need to sleep. And you remember what it's like to be a new parent, that baby crying all the time, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, no one can sleep like that. And that's what's happening in your child's room if there's a phone or a device in there, that all through the night, they're getting either texts or they're being tempted to play video games or do other things, and just get that out of the bedroom. So no devices in the bedroom, delay those devices, get that mealtime in order, be the model digitally yourself, and pray, ask the Holy Spirit, what is this area? Like, what's the one critical move we need right now? Maybe it's reclaiming dinner. Maybe it's a father-daughter date with no devices where there's a connection now. Maybe it's Thursday nights. Hey, it's family game night and no devices. So have this rhythm. Maybe it's a Sabbath on Sunday or Saturday that you say, hey, we're not going to go online this day, and this day is for relaxation, for reading, for playing, going out and doing sports, doing other things.
Well, the book is called Screen Kids, and it is a book and it is a resource that has principles for everyone in your family. From newborn to age 105, you will find some principle that fits for your family that you can apply and that you will find so helpful. Arlene, thank you so much for sharing this with us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing the hard research and the uncomfortable research, but coming out with it and letting us know what we need to do to be better parents and to be better families and to better parent our kids.
Thank you for not being afraid to tackle this subject and for letting me come. And please know, everything said has been not to make you feel guilty, but to make you feel knowledgeable, empowered, and like, wait a minute, I can do something about this, because you can.
Thank you.
I'm so thankful Arlene Pellicane does not eat peanut butter pies, but she is serving up something, though, that,
oh my goodness, some truth.
Not going to be welcoming. These are the types of speakers that have made Pam and I a better set of parents. Yes. But I'm going to tell you, I hear some of these items, and I say the same thing I hear from parents in the sessions I'm teaching as I travel and speak, just like I know you do, Marianne. I wish I'd heard this message 20 years ago, 15 years ago. There are some things we would do a little bit differently. What are some of the things that you're thinking about as a mom based on this talk with your kiddos?
Well, first of all, Miss Arlene, I think I told you this, but my sons have listened to you and they're like, Mom, I don't like her. I don't know if are you going to do this? Are you going to put these parameters on us? And, my response, and I was sharing this with Ron earlier, my response to them is, guys, we don't shy away from hard challenges. And so first of all, Miss Arlene, I want to thank you so much for setting this before us. And your call to this is just incredible. The way that God's gifted you to articulate this subject is so inspiring and empowering to me as a mom. And I'm in agreement with Ron. I really wish I would have heard this year 1 through 5, because now I've got a 10-year-old and a 14-year-old, and we're reshifting and reshaping limits, rules, boundaries, and limitations, I guess is a better way to put it.
Arlene said it well. It's easier, she said, it's easier to delay giving the privilege or a phone than it is to take it back. And that's so true. It's so hard to step back, but we can, as you said, leaning into it. Keep going.
That's right. She said screen addiction is more dangerous because we're not expecting it.
Oh.
And then she starts to give the symptoms of addiction. And I got to tell you, that helped me identify a whole lot of things, not only in my children, but in my students in my ministry, of just, when there's awkward places relationally, I notice students go to their phones when they don't know how to interact, or they don't know who they are, they're insecure in a room, they go directly to their phone. And so that really helped me go, okay, this helps me identify what we need to do with those spaces so that they do feel confident and they do feel like they can put their phone away and engage. I love the 7-day reset. We have that scheduled. My husband has felt really strongly about our family vacation time being spiritual resets. Yes, it's vacation and fun, and we're doing a lot of fun things, but he feels really strongly about leading us and resetting us during those weeks. We come out when we reset spiritually and we fast a little bit, we come out. And like I told you before, Ron, we read, in our last vacation, and we asked our boys to read for a day in the mountains. And we came out of that just so much more healthy. And she speaks to that. When we reset, we may not like it the first couple of days because guys, we're addicted. But when we get some distance and we get some parameters, man, and then we're intentional with our time, getting on our bikes, going for a walk, going to shoot hoops at the with the basketball goal, engaging our neighbors, taking the doodle for a walk.
She mentioned cultivating competencies in our kids.
Yes, love it.
Find out where they're really good at something. Otherwise, they're going to keep aspiring to those digital games or to the apps or whatever. Because I tell you what, the apps are built in to affirm the psychology of the mind. Hey, you're doing well. But hey, do you want to do more? Achieve, post, all this. It's driven. It's meant to do that. And it's taking the place of parents' compliments and affirmation of their kiddos.
Yes.
We've got to really step into that. One of my real big takeaways over Arlene, and there were many, but she said, here's the deal to know how your kids are doing on your phone. If they're not responsible with their chores, if they're not responsible on the non-phone items, then they cannot be responsible for the phone items.
Absolutely.
Wow. So again, look at that cultivation, tie the phone privilege to the other side of the responsibilities and
absolutely
let them earn that privilege.
Mm-hmm. Well, and my husband is really clear with our boys. It's not a right. Let me be really clear with you, young men. This is not a right. This is a privilege. And so you've got to navigate it, and you've got to be wise with it and steward it well and wisely. I also want to just say, I appreciate her call, her challenge at the end of the conversation to parents. And she said, ask your children how you're doing with your phone and be ready for their response. And she gave us 2 great next steps and 2 action steps. She said, pivot away from your phone and look at them in the eye.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yes.
Mamas, daddies.
Yeah.
This is powerful truth right here. We need to sit with. I needed to sit with that. I needed to hear that. I've got to pivot away from my phone. I mean, I work in marketing. I work in communications. That's a big part of my job. And so I feel like my career is somewhat attached to a device. But here's the thing. No career, no job is worth eye and heart connection with my child. And I just want to thank you for challenging me on that, Miss Arlene. You stepped straight up on my toes and broke them.
Yes, absolutely. We're all walking around a little hobbled after the end on that one because, for dads, sometimes we're talking to our kids while we're watching the game on TV. We don't make eye contact with our kiddos. And here's what she said that really not only stepped on the toes, but chopped us off of the knees. She said, what we model digitally matters more than what we say about screens. What we model digitally matters more than what we say to our kids about their screens. They get it. They really do. And boy, I did. So where are you? Digital candy or digital vegetables after that one, parents? Come on. Where are kiddos? Where are you? Where am I? I would like to think that I'm pretty good in real life about not eating a lot of candy. I tend to eat more food than candy, but when it comes to screen time, every Sunday morning at 9:00, my phone buzzes and I have a little pop-up and it tells me how I'm doing on my screen time. It tells me if I'm up or down, and I can click a button and see what I'm doing in my screen time. And it doesn't matter if I'm doing it all in productivity. If all my productivity on my phone is taking me away from my family, I'm failing along the way. And that's a great reminder.
I read an article recently. I just wanted to end on this note. I read an article recently that said we touch our phone. The average person touches their phone 2,617 times a day.
2,617?
Yes.
Oh my word.
And that slayed me. And then I checked, and it's true. And teenagers, they say, are above average. They're touching it well over 3,000 times a day.
What is amazing is I remember our kiddos' cell phone bills back when cell phone bills were more detailed. Our daughter, which you know very well, Marianne, Lauren, is an introvert. She is all over the phone. Yeah. But our son, who is an introvert, we used to get the number of texts that were sent. You remember when we were measured by text?
Yes. And charged?
Yes, and charged, because you had a limit on there. My daughter would average around 2,500 to 3,000 a month, okay? Which seems like a lot. But my introverted son, 5,000 to 6,000.
Wow.
He felt comfort in that form of communication, and it's just very different. So it really doesn't matter the personalities of our kids. There is... I'm sorry that somebody actually had to go do that survey. You imagine what that was like, measuring that?
No.
And then the phone companies can, produce these kind of reports for us. But yeah, I think it's good for us to pause and do inventory.
That's right.
Arlene, thanks for challenging us. Thanks again for this. And again, like she said, even though we've extended those privileges, having a reset coming out of it and just championing, hey, maybe no screens, no phones in our bedrooms, no screens, no phones at the dinner table. There's a few basic boundaries we can start putting in place that will make us all more healthy.
That's right.
Thank you, Arlene. Next week, another tough topic. We go from managing those screens to what we see on those screens. We've got an incredible, insightful prophet, if I could, one who's going to champion the appropriate way to deal with pornography, and a message we all need to hear. And that's from Josh Proctor next week. Until then, look for ways that you can monitor your screen time, make eye contact with your kiddos, and engage them in a discipleship teachable moment Monday through Saturday, championing and modeling generational discipleship. Until then, we're praying for you.
You've been listening to the D6 Podcast. You can learn more about D6 at d6family.com.